What is going on, everybody? It is Oak. I'm back once again. We are here with week 1 of the OoTR Standard Tournament Season 8 weekly wrap-up. So, I wanted to get into a couple of things today. Firstly, I would like to go over the tournament settings. What are we going to be playing? What kind of seeds are we going to be looking at? What's the hint prioritization? These are all great questions, and honestly, the best thing I could recommend is go check out our restreams for the qualifiers. Qualifiers 1 and 2 both have already happened. I'm recording this Monday morning, and qualifiers 1 and 2 happened Saturday and Sunday recently this past weekend. And boy, do I tell you, we had wonderful qualifiers. And we'll get into the slight breakdowns. I know quite a bit about both of the seeds. I don't want to spoil way too much. And I do highly recommend go checking out the restreams for both of those if you haven't already. So, firstly, we're going to go over the tournament settings. What are we going to be running today? Well, last season, if you remember, Season 7 was a draft-style tournament. That means each player drafted major and minor settings to be added to the base settings that were surrounding the tournament. So, this season, the settings start as follows. Vanilla Rainbow Bridge. This means that the Shadow and the Spirit Medallion, the orange and the purple as I like to say in my head, as well as the light arrows, are required to build the Rainbow Bridge. You're probably like, well, oh, doesn't that just give you access to Ganon? No, it doesn't. Ganon's Castle Boss Key is given to you with the achievement of 6 medallions. So, what does that mean? Well, that means Ganon's Castle is open as soon as you have the Shadow and Spirit Medallion and the light arrows in hand. You go over to outside Ganon's Castle, you go over to the Rainbow Bridge, it builds, and you could go into Ganon's Castle as a separate dungeon that could potentially have items for the other dungeons other than the Shadow and Spirit Medallion. If you really want to break down into the logic, I really do highly recommend listening to the previous restreams for Qualifier 1 and 2. We have wonderful restreamer or commentators. For Restream 1, for Qualifier 1, we had Sponge and New IT Guy, 2 vets. New IT Guy is a veteran commentator, and Sponge is one of our top runners, and also one of our tournament team organizers. Does a wonderful job explaining the logic, explaining the route that each of the players are playing through, and I do highly recommend listening to both of these VODs for both the qualifiers, because you're going to get so much information. All locations reachable is our third option, or it's our third setting, and really that just means that eventually throughout the entire game, you will be able to access every location and be able to reach or achieve every item at some point. You cannot have an item like the hammer be locked by the hammer. It doesn't work like that. That's not how all locations reachable. This also used to be called beatable only. It also had another name previously. So yeah, we're calling it all locations reachable. It's the standard setting for the standard tournament, and it just makes sense. Chest appearance matches content, CAMC. Chest appearance matches content is you get the big chest and it's got texture. That's pretty much it. Like if you've got something potentially useful or a unique item, it will go into a big chest. Bomb chews are still in small brown chests. So it's still worthwhile getting those small brown chests. And if you're running low on bombs, small brown chests. We do have the heart texture on, so hearts, heart pieces, and heart containers are in the heart chest. They are small heart chests. Alright, next, we have random child spawn and vanilla adult spawn. What is vanilla adult spawn? You probably already know, but just in case, vanilla adult spawn is inside Temple of Time on the work pad. So it's towards the entrance of Temple of Time. Random child spawn can be anywhere. I don't think it could be in a dungeon. but it could be anywhere else in the overworld. You could spawn into a house. I did have a spawn where I played, and my spawn was in Dampe's hut as a child. It's possible. Nextly is blue fire arrows are on. Ice arrows now have the same properties as blue fire, as well as the ice arrow properties. So you could still use blue fire arrows on Bongo Bongo in Frieza's hands. But you could also use blue fire arrows to get King Zora, to unfreeze King Zora, get the item before you KZ skip over into Ice Cavern. It's possible. You can do it. Absolutely. Chickens. Super controversial. I know. 3 chickens. That's all you need. 3 chickens. Super easy. Nice, good check. It's one of those one-off checks, kind of like Dampe's grave. Or Dampe digging, I'm sorry. Now, for the hint distribution. We have 5 always hints. Skull Mask, Big Goron, Frogs 2, Burning Kakariko, and Ocarina of Time. The song on Ocarina of Time. We have 5 goal path hints. Goal can include 2 different types of path hints that we don't normally see, but we will in this tournament, and the path hints that we do normally see, and I'll explain what I mean. There is Path to Evil's Bane. Path to Evil's Bane leads you to the light arrows. Because Ganon's castle is locked by the light arrows, we have an Evil's Bane hint that gives us to the light arrows. It could be an item that gets us to the light arrows, or it could be the light arrows itself. We also have path hints, regular path hints, and those path hints are Forest Temple is path to Morpha, and you just so happen to find the long shot in Forest Temple, and that will give you access to defeat Morpha. Very simple. People are way better at explaining this than me, and I really do highly recommend watching Qualifier 1 and 2. Please, they do a much better job. Lastly, we have Path of the Hero. You never heard of that one, have you? Path of the Hero is unique, where Path of the Hero only leads you to items that are not hinted on your previous paths or your Evil's Bane's path, that is strictly used to defeat Ganon. What can those items be? Well, light arrows are required to beat Ganon, but those are on our Evil's Bane paths, and it's required to have the light arrows before you even enter Ganon's castle. So, these Path of the Heroes can only lead to 2 items. They can lead to the bow, or they could lead to magic. Well, what does that mean? If it's supposed to be the last thing hinted in a seed, if you get a Path of the Hero for magic, and you find magic, that just means you don't need magic for any of the other items in your previous paths or dungeons. It means you could skip your magic checks. It's huge. That being said, let's go and dip into qualifier number 1. Qualifier number 1. Actually, firstly, let's go and give a nice shout out to our tournament team. Our tournament team includes Melqui, Sponge, Hyper Obsession, or Hyper, Fennel, Barbu. I'm missing a couple. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find it right now. Okay. Cassandra. Jackstronomy. Oh, that's all. Okay, we'll go back over it. Fennel. Tobias. Melqui. Hyper. Jax, or Jackstronomy. Cassandra. Barbu, and Sponge. Thank you guys so much for creating these settings. It genuinely does bring us together, all for one, for a tournament that we are all looking forward to. And we all thank you. It's not an easy job, and we appreciate it. On to qualifier number 1. Qualifier number 1 has been on the screen this entire time. This is Sponge and UIT Guy commentating over qualifier number 1. Now, you're probably not going to get too much information out of no audio for qualifier number 1, but at least you'll be able to watch a little bit of what's going on. The gist of this qualifier is, at some point, you have no explosives going on, and you could get bomb chews from Richard, the lost dog. Turning Richard in, I believe, gives you 5 bomb chews for this seed. And you could start doing out of logic checks. You could even go get 20 bomb chews with those 5 bomb chews inside of DMC or Death Mountain Crater. You could get 20 bomb chews in the grotto in Death Mountain Crater. And you could beat the seed without bombs. Nothing is hard bomb locked. And when I'm thinking hard bomb locked, I'm thinking bomb chew bowling. This seed didn't have anything on there, or at least nothing useful, so you could beat the seed without bombs. But Oak, where's bombs? Bombs are in the valley. Absolutely. Bombs are in the valley. And guess where the hint for the bombs are? Right there in valley, right next to them. There is a, I believe it's a path to King Dodongo that shows bombs in valley. It's either that or it's the dual hint that tells you the items in valley. That is very possible. I don't remember exactly which one. I was just told it was hinted right there in valley, so it has to be one of those 2 hints. With that, qualifier number 1 actually punished you for getting bombs out of logic or going and getting those bombs. Why? Why would that be the case? Well, some runners came down to, well, should I go to Valley for 2 checks and they don't have the hint that bombs are there? Or I have all the items for Stone Forest Temple, and you know how much we love Stone Forest Temple. You just do Stone Forest Temple. Stone Forest Temple, or Forest Temple, which is a stone. I know it sounds like I'm saying Stone Tower Temple, and that's not the case. We're not playing MMR, I promise. Forest Temple, which is a stone, technically not required. It is hard required. Strength 2 is on Phantom Ganon. And, very own, on this restream, right here at the bottom right, we have Zakola. That's Zavi. He changed his name as a meme. And he ended up getting first on the restream here. But first place was Floosh. And we'll get into the placements here in a second. Zavi was the first one on restream to go get the Strength 2 that was on Phantom Ganon. Meaning you had to beat all of Forest Temple and get Strength 2 on Phantom Ganon. That doesn't feel great. Stone of Agony was the check just before Phantom Ganon. And I know a lot of players saw that Stone of Agony and said, I'm doing the wrong thing. And that's perfectly reasonable. But it was the right play. Forest Temple was actually the right play. Stone Forest Temple was the right play. Strength 2 is what you needed. And that got you into Spirit Temple. And I do believe that was quite a few people's go mode item was Strength 2. You're not sure what go mode means. It just means if you're looking for one item for go mode means go. Go finish the game. You have everything you need. You gotta go. So we have a pretty stacked lineup here on Restream. Mr. Mario, Alexis, Fur, and Zavi. And if you remember from Season 7, spoilers, Zavi was Season 7 champion, and Alexis was Season 7 runner-up. They played each other in the finals, a best-of-3 series, and Zavi came out on top, and they're here on the first restream. If this is not a legendary restream, I don't know what is. Go watch it right now. Drop everything you're doing. I don't know why you're listening to me. Go watch that restream. It's over on Twitch. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube yet. If it is, I'll put the link in the description. Either way, we'll put the VOD link for Twitch in the description because I highly recommend watching this one. Okay, placements. Placements for the tournament. For qualifier number 1, we're going to go and check those out right now. So, first place we had Floosh, finishing with the time of 2:22.22. It doesn't get any cooler than that. Finishing first place in the first qualifier in Season 8, got 1,045 points. Zavi, finishing second place, first on Restream. Floosh was not restreamed here, but Zavi finished first on Restream, getting 224.19 and 1032 points. Mr. Mario, second on Restream, shortly after, getting 998 points. Marco, then Cola, then Ryu Kane, Season 6 champion. Marco, I believe, was Season 2 champion. I mean, come on. Then you had Methinkso finishing in 8th place. I'm sorry, did I say Flea finishing in 7th place? Methinkso in 8th place. Drew, or Drewness, finishing in 9th place. Or Drula. Everybody's changing their name to Cola. There's lots of Colas, and we love it. Alexis, on Restream, finishing in 10th place. Volk, very strong French runner, finishing in 11th. Tanjo, 12th. Fur, 13th. Brazilian runner. Chuckles, the one and only, 501. Go check out the Gossip Stone podcast. That's why we're going so far down the list. Go check out this Gossip Stone podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Specifically, I listen to mine on Spotify, and I'm pretty sure that's where you could go. You could also go to the Ocarina of Time website, go to, I believe it's community, and go to Gossip Stone podcast. They did a couple of videos leading up to Season 8. They did a recent video with Melqui, who is one of the tournament organizers, Emo Soda, who's one of the co-hosts, Jimbo, co-host, Chuckles, one of the co-hosts, and Trez, the owner of Ocarina of Time Randomizer. And tons of great information in there. I do highly recommend listening to that. I listen to it while I'm at work, and I recommend you listen to it if you got some time. If you love OoTR just as much as we do, there's a reason why. Then we have Mashi, Sanzu, Sora, Zephyr, Say, Alfalfa, Nice, Juke, Krez, and Holologic. And that's going to wrap it up for the top. Actually, we'll go all the way to 32. Oh, it goes much further than. Alright, yeah, we'll just stick to whatever the screen says. So, Holologic finishing up there at 24. And that's just the first one. We've still got more. We've got a whole nother qualifier to worry about. And that one happened like today, kind of for me. Like 12 hours ago for me. So it's still kind of fresh in my mind. I watched as much as I could, try to get as much information. And what I've got to say is, it's a jet. Yeah, it's, so let's go and get rid of the first one. Let's just go and show the second one here. So this is the second qualifier. Second qualifier, we had Say, Sea Falcon, Drew, and Juke over on the Restream. And this was commentated by Melqui and Emo Soda. I just said those names. They were both on the Gossip Stone podcast recently. Melqui is one of the tournament organizers, and Emo is one of the co-hosts for Gossip Stone podcast. Also does mixed pools organization. All of our members are, everybody's kind of interconnected and helps out everywhere. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see the community come together, especially the best time of year when we got standard tournament Season 8. I'm going to say that so many times. So, qualifier number 2. What happened? What's going on? Well, it was kind of a jet. You get a lot of items pretty early on. You start being able to get your dungeons done. I believe, yeah, it shows there right on screen. You had Deku, DC, Forest, Water, and Spirit required. And it looks like you started with the, one of the stones? Yeah, you start with the Goron Ruby, and Fire is the Light Medallion. So you need to get Hammer down the line somewhere, but you get bombs pretty early in this run, I believe in your first adult, like, CAC route. So you could just knock out DC, right there. You get a Death Mountain to Phantom Ganon type of hint. Yeah, so it's really not that bad of a seed. It's a jet. And the reason why I say that is it's a jet if you just do a couple of things. And couple of cool things come into play. there is a strength in river. There's one check in river with no items that as an adult is in logic. It's kind of bad to get to sometimes. It depends on how you route things, but a lot of players like to open up with the Zora's River play because you get 3 hints, you get 3 items, 2 of them are out of logic, you could do cool jumps to get to, but there's 1 item in logic, and for this seed, it was a strength upgrade. Well, you need to do spirit down the line, so that strength's kind of useful. You don't know if you're going to just get the other 2, or if one of them's going to be locked behind the strength, or you're just not really sure. So, needing that spirit temple, if you went Zora's River semi-early, you get that strength, you have the bomb bags, you end up getting a hook shot, I believe long shot relatively early too. It does look like Seisei has it like 30 minutes in already. That's pretty good when you got water temple that you need, and iron boots and hover boot. I mean, Seisei, it looks like Seisei kind of killed this seed. So, at the end, it really just, it's not that bad of a seed. It's a pretty good jet. The thing that tripped people up is that Zora's River strength. Sometimes when you realize, oh, I'm getting item after item after item, you get a hint for Spirit Temple that the first 2 adult checks is a small key and a boss key, somewhere down the line, not sure. Not every runner got this hint, but those 2 items right there tell you that you do not need child side unless child has hard required items in the first 2 checks. So if there's like a strength upgrade in the first check in child spirit, then you know it's kind of hard required to get that Requiem of Spirit, which on this seed was on Ocarina of Time, or what we like to call AD, or All Dungeons. So All Dungeons was looming over almost the entire seed until you get that hint that you have a small key and a boss key on the adult side of Spirit, which is kind of a cool and really niche hint to get for this specific seed, and it just worked out. So, qualifier number 2, where was the bad? There was a strength that was over there in River. I don't know where the other strength was. Oh, actually I do. It's in Hinted Ice Cavern. I don't know if it was Ice Cavern and Twin Rova. I think it might have been. But you have to go to Ice Cavern at some point, and unfortunately for some people, that Ice Cavern strength was their first one and only one for a while. If they didn't go Zora's River anytime soon, if you had iron boots and you just went over into ice using the iron boots through the Lost Woods, that's kind of how you're skipping that strength for a little bit. Some people, they were missing the mirror shield for a little bit. I don't know exactly where it was. Please just go watch it. Emo and Mel, they both did a wonderful job on the commentary. I can't recommend it enough. They have some of the best knowledge in OOTR, just same as when Sponge in New IT Guy did the first qualifier. So please just go check that out. I do highly recommend it. But with this one, if you didn't get that strength, or if you don't get the mirror shield wherever that is, it's not a jet. And unfortunately, some people did miss their flight. It happens. So, what are the standings for, or what is the individual race standings for this one? Thank you for asking. Let's go and switch on over. So we are currently on the first one. All right, right here. First place, Alexis. We just talked about him. Alexis was runner-up in Season 7. He was Challenge Cup champion, I believe in Season 6. And he finished first place. He was 10th in the last one. So 10th and then first, honestly, 2 top 10 finishes. That's kind of huge. Green Cola, this one surprised me. And this is definitely an underdog story. Green Cola killed it, got second place. 153.17. Not to mention the times here. Sub 2. 150.28. 153.17. They're not the fastest SA seeds I've ever seen, but these are still very fast. Sub 2 hours for a 3D Zelda randomizer is kind of crazy. And when you've got 8 finishers under 2 hours, that kind of tells you this is definitely a jet seed. You got Tanjo coming up in 3rd place. one of the Wind Waker randomizer organizers, plays so many different games, and can't take off enough hats for that. We have Bonnaroo, which is geez, I can't remember which tournament they won, but they are a main tournament winner somewhere along the line in the early tournaments. Might be season 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. Still one of the legends of the game that I haven't personally seen since I've started playing and actually like taking notice, but seeing them come back for season 8, get 4th place in a qualifier, the second qualifier to say the least. We got Drew again, top 10. I think he had top 10 last one. We had Seze, who I believe was, he was the first finisher in, actually no, Drew. Oh my goodness. Drew was the first finisher on Restream. And Seze following up just over a minute and a half. We had Zephyr finishing in 7th place. Finished pretty high up in the previous one as well in Qualifier 1. Ryuja, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, finishing in 9th place with the 201. This is where we start to get it over just over 2 hours. Flea, this was, if you're not familiar and you haven't, I mean, come on, this is not spoilers. It's been a few months. Flea, the runner-up in SGL in person. Manu finishing up in 11th. Exodus, who's absolutely been killing it for pretty much the past month and a half. Same with Floosh. I don't think Floosh was in this one, but Floosh is every single race they're in. You're always seeing him in the top, always in the first place spot. So then you got Marco, one of the legends of the game that's been playing for a very long time, one of our previous tournament winners. I do believe it was season 2. I said this earlier. Juke, Cola, Volk, all highly established players, been playing for a very long time. Noplons, Nastriel, Seti, Narvel, some newer names. Those 3 right there. Nastriel, Seti, Narvel. Those are newer names, and honestly, people I will say you're going to have to start looking out for. We definitely have people that are working their way up throughout the ranks and definitely want to make a name for themselves. And it's been showing. They've been putting in the work, putting in the practice. You got Mashi, Jimbo, the one and only. Cannot give enough credit to Jimbo. Thank you so much, brother. You got Link Hylian, Incoherent, Susato, who's been killing it recently, doing a lot of races, has been hitting in those top spots pretty consistently. Angle just destroyed me recently in a 50 skull seed. I don't want to play that one again. Made me very scared of playing Angle in the future. Alpha, Rock Chalk, some really high names here. People, I mean, I say that about everybody, but at the end of the day, the skill level is insane. I mean, we're at 28th and there's not even 30 minutes in between the times here. You got Akanini, methinks so, who did finish in 8th in the last one. Seems like this one kind of held them up a little bit. Maybe it was the Zora's River. Maybe it was the Mirror Shield. Weighty Words and Creds. This one did go over to 32. Oh, you don't even see it on your screen. Yeah, that would make sense. Let's go ahead and, there we go. Yeah, all the way down to 32. All the way down. Let's go to 32. Krez. Yeah, we'll go and stop there. Okay, so overall placements. How does this work? Great question. You could play 8 races, 8 qualifiers. Your top 5 are going to be counted to your score. Kinda. The bottom 3 are going to be knocked off. Your top finish will also be knocked off. Because what if you have 1,000 plus qualifier point finish, but your other 7 are in the 700s? That 1,000 was a 1 in 1,000 type thing, or that was just an outlier, and we want to remove the outliers to give you the most accurate way of placing you for this tournament. So your top finish is going to be removed. Your bottom 3 finishes will be removed, assuming that you played all 8. If you only played 5, your top finish will just be removed and will only calculate your second, your third, and your fourth. I'm sorry, your second, your third, your fourth, and your fifth race. Okay, so you need to play 5. And you cannot, if you only play 5, you cannot forfeit. I mean, you could, but you're only, actually, no, you cannot forfeit. You have to finish 5. That is the ruling, sorry. You do have to finish 5. This came up in the last season. I'm just doing my best to try and remember. You have to play 5 at the end of the day. You have to play 5 unforfeited seeds. Your top one will be removed. The next 4 will count towards your average score. They'll give you your total points and your average points. It's the same thing at the end of the day. As long as everybody's getting calculated up against the same kind of statistic, then we're fine. So, current standings. What do those look like? Great question. We got Drew in number 1. Now remember, best result right here gets removed. This is going based on their second result. So, the only people that are really going to show up on the list here that don't have 0 points are the people that played qualifier number 1 and 2. So this is taking the players that played both qualifier 1 and 2 and putting them up into a list. So we're just going to stick to the top 10 here. We got Drew sitting at 960 points, first place. Alexis, Flea, Marco, Cola, Tanjo, Volk, Zephyr, Seisei, and Juke. And I'm going to be honest here. That's the top 10 currently. We're looking at top 32 this year. Seeds 33 through 96 are going to be in Challenge Cup. It's different. Top 32 and then the next 64 are going to be in Challenge Cup. It's a little bit different this year. But this is definitely going to increase the amount of competition. And I personally think this is going to be one of the best years for Ocarina of Time that we have seen yet. So, I predict that all 10 of these names right here are going to remain top 32. I don't want to go any further than that because genuinely, I see all 10 of these names remaining top 32. I'm not going to say they're going to stay in top 10. Okay, things are going to change. We got 18 more qualifiers to worry about. And with 18 more qualifiers to worry about, let's go and check out the schedule for what we're going to cover next week. So, next week. Today is Monday. This will be uploaded maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Regardless, we're going to get this up as quickly as possible. Qualifier number 3 starts Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there. If you're not going to play, I'm pretty sure there might be a restream. Just keep an eye out for it. Twitch.tv/ZeldaSpeedRuns. Go check it out. We're going to be there. We got tons of people playing. Qualifier number 4. It's going to be Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully I did my mental math there correctly. 3 hours before 2400. Yeah, we're looking at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. Okay? This is a late one. This is a late one even for NA. This one is really for, Pacific Standard Time. This is 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is a great time for them. They just got off work. Let's go and play, and then we'll have dinner afterwards. Something like that. I don't know. It's Friday. What are we doing? We're at home zootering. Absolutely. Saturday, qualifier number 5. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You might remember this time if you're familiar with the racing scene. This is the old NA weekly slot. We're bringing that back for the qualifiers. It's going to be on a rotating schedule. You can see that slot is also used for qualifier 16. So, qualifier number 5, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can calculate it however you wish. This is midnight into the next day for Central European Standard Time, yada yada. Qualifier number 6, this is my favorite time slot, and this is where I'm more than likely, I signed up and hopefully gonna get chosen for commentary. You do still have to get chosen. You could sign up, but you still gotta be chosen. Qualifier number 6, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's my favorite time slot of all time. Okay, this is 3 p.m. right there in the middle of the afternoon for Central European Standard Time. Okay, this is 6 a.m. for Pacific. Just gotta warn you, it's super early, but if you want, this is a very possible qualifier for you to make. That's our four. That's our 4 qualifiers we're going to be looking forward to. We're going to be covering all 4 of those in the next video. Okay? So we got twice the amount of content. This was 30 minutes. I didn't even realize. I looked down. We're at 35 minutes. That's insane. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you. Thanks so much. All right. That being said, I got a trip to go take. I'm going to be gone the next 2 days. I will catch you guys later. Please have a wonderful week and be ready for some more Zooter content. I appreciate every single one of you. See ya!